Hi, Ross here from the Clean Handbook, and today I'm going to be talking you through a bulletproof method of reducing belly fat and bloating. Now, the reason people put on fat is because we are lied to. That's the cut and dry of it. We're lied to about what is good for us, and we're lied to about what is bad for us. Sometimes those lies are intentional. Take sugar versus fat, for instance. Now, back in the 1970s, it's been proven and shown through emails and bills and payoffs that the sugar industry paid scientists to come up with studies that showed that fat was what caused people to gain fat, and that sugar had no part to play in that. Fast forward 30, 40 years, and we now know that that isn't the case. And sometimes we're sold by marketing, for instance, breakfast cereals. Pre-1900s, no one knew what a breakfast cereal was, but post-1900s, plus TV adverts, radio adverts, and everything in between adverts, we've been convinced that breakfast has to be a different meal to any other meal, to lunch and to dinner. This isn't the case. This is crazy thinking. There's no reason we should be eating something different in the morning than we should be eating at dinner and that we should be eating at lunch. It's crazy. We shouldn't be eating cereals, we shouldn't be eating toast, and we shouldn't be covering them in milk at the same time. That is what marketing has done for us in terms of cereals. The cut and dry of it is that everyone reacts very differently to different foods. There isn't a one-size-fits-all diet. Unfortunately, if there was, then we'd probably have got to it by now and we'd all be beautiful, healthy people. The truth is that everyone is affected in very different ways by the same foods. If it was the case that we had a one-size-fits-all diet, we would have found it by now. The millions and millions that are spent on studying diet, we would have found, if there was a one-size-fits-all, we would have found it by now. The reason we haven't got that is because everyone is affected very differently by exactly the same foods. It's the reason why one person can drink a pint of milk, no problem, and carry on their day as normal, and another one can drink that same pint of milk and be on the toilet for 3 days. It's because their bodies work differently, their bodies process everything differently. Some people are lactose intolerant, other people are gluten intolerant, other people can't do high FODMAP foods, and some people can't do soy. You might be one of those. You might be able to eat all of those and be absolutely fine. Some people can't deal with a lot of sugar. Some people are diabetic. Some people have celiac disease. Everyone is different. The cut and dry of it is that if you are fat and bloated right now, then it means you are eating the wrong foods or you're eating them in the wrong amounts. It's as simple as that. Now, the bulletproof method that you can follow right now to reduce that fat and that bloating is very simple. You're going to cut out every single food that could be causing you problems right now. Grains, dairy, anything with gluten in, which is covered in grains, soy, high FODMAP foods, that's probably it. Cut out those 5 things and it gives your body a break. Cut those foods out for 3 to 4 weeks and then you slowly reintroduce one food at a time that you want to eat. And you then see what effect that has on your body. As an analogy, if you've got 2 people, one person is stood outside in the rain and one person is sat on this sofa nice and comfy, just like I am now. If you throw a cup of water over the person who's outside in the rain, it's going to annoy them. Or they may not even notice. They may not even notice you've thrown a cup of water over them because they're already drenched from the rain. Flip that and throw the cup of water over the person who's sat on the sofa and it is going to annoy them. They are very much going to notice how that affected them. That's what it is with food. If you are currently eating loads of food that are already causing you problems, if you eat another thing that will cause you problems, you won't notice because you're already drowning in the rain that's outside. Whereas if you get inside, dry yourself off and sit on the sofa, you will then notice when you throw that cup of water how that affects you. And that's what I'm going to be doing with the bulletproof method. Now, a very common question is, if I'm cutting out grains, I'm cutting out dairy, I'm cutting out soy, I'm cutting out the high FODMAP foods with the vegetables that are in there, and I'm cutting out soy, what on earth am I going to eat instead? Very simple. You're going to eat stuff that was once alive in the form that you were about to eat it. So any meat, any fish, any vegetables, any fruit, any nuts and seeds, there's a huge variety of choice just in those 5 foods. And those 5 foods are really all you need. Keep off the grains, keep off the gluten, keep off the soy, keep off everything else, and just stick to those 5 staple foods, and you will be all right. You'll probably be healthier than you've ever been. Now, from a realistic point of view, you probably won't enjoy eating just those 5 types of foods for the rest of your life. So after 3 to 4 weeks, what you are going to do is add one thing at a time in to add on top of those 5 things. So let's say you are missing rice. Let's say you're missing rice. You want a curry on Saturday night. What you'll do is you'll leave everything out for 4 weeks, and then after the 4 weeks, you'll add rice into one of your meals, and you'll see how it affects you. You'll see this is essentially us throwing that cup of water over you. Now, is it going to annoy you? Are you going to immediately blow up? Are you going to have to go to the toilet a few times the next day and it's a little bit loose? Are you going to fall asleep straight after you've eaten it? Or are you going to be absolutely fine? However you react is then how you decide to proceed. If you are not affected whatsoever, then feel free to add rice in again. Again, keep it in small amounts. Don't be eating it all day, every day. And conversely, if it does affect you in a bad way, then you've got a choice to make. Now, you can either deal with those symptoms and possibly go back up in bloating and put a little bit more fat on. But if you love that food that much, then that's a fair thing. It's completely up to you what you do with that. Knowledge is power though. If you know that, then it's your decision to make. You can't blame marketing companies, you can't blame anyone else. It's a decision that you have made. Once you've done that with one food, you'll then move on to the next food. So you've tried it with rice, and now you want to try it with bread. You want a bit of toast in the morning. Do the same thing. Try it. Just add that one thing back in. Try it a couple of mornings in a row. See how that affects you, and do the same thing. If it affects you in a bad way, then you've got a decision to make. Your better option is to cut it out, obviously from a health point of view and from a looks point of view as well, because if it does bloat you, yeah, then you're going to suffer with how you look in the mirror and how you look in by the pool. That's your decision to make. If whichever you are happier doing, do that. And then essentially you'll just repeat that process until you've got a food plan that you are completely happy with. You can live forever on that diet, on that food plan, and you'll be healthier, you'll be happier, and you'll be slimmer than you were at the start of it. Takes a long process. It's quite a long process in doing it and figuring it out, but stick that Sherlock Holmes cap on, figure out what works for you, and that is how the Bulletproof Method works for reducing body fat and bloating.